thank the member. I call
Who am I now?
member for South Coast.
I've been the member for South Coast for quite a while.
And a very fine minister as well.
Thank you very much, Mr Acting Speaker. Last week I had the great pleasure of welcoming the Premier to my electorate, the South Coast electorate. She's a regular visitor to my region, and over the last 8 years in particular, since we were elected to government, the Premier's been to announce a number of projects in the South Coast electorate, or the Kiama electorate, or further south in Bega. So it was great to have her there last week. Of course, since 2003, when I was elected to this place, I've fought for a number of projects right up and down the coast, into the coastal villages, to the north, to the south, and central Shoalhaven. And we've got great things happening in the South Coast. It's a beautiful part of the world, and we're still delivering great projects. So, of course, last week, the Premier came to look at the final stages of the car park to the hospital, Shoalhaven Hospital, which was announced before the election. Well before the election, $11.8 million car park. It's a 5-storey, I think, 2-tiered car park. It's just outstanding. And I, together with the member for Kiama, the Deputy Chair, Illawarra Shoalhaven Local Health District, Jill Bowman, Executive Director, Western Region Health Infrastructure, Bruno Zingini, and there we witnessed the final stages of the car park, the highest point, the topping out, and the Premier was there. And of course, during the election campaign, we also announced $434 million for the redevelopment of Shoalhaven District Memorial Hospital. It's a beautiful hospital. We've done a great deal with it over the last 8 years, but we really need a major expansion now. We have a master plan on foot. We have some more consultation to continue with stakeholders, and then we'll have a really beautiful redeveloped hospital. And it's an incredible milestone and testament to really the strong work that we've put in as a government to health in New South Wales. A number of hospitals right throughout the state opened or under construction. That day also we had lunch. It sounds, you know, a bit of an indulgence that we had lunch, but I wanted to take the Premier to a place called Pelican Rocks at Greenville Point. Pelican Rocks Seafood is a business owned by Mr Sam Cardow. He has about 30 staff now working in a fish and chips sort of casual restaurant, but he's voted three years in a row best fish and chips in New South Wales, both judges and popular voting, and he's in contention for best fish and chips in Australia in October, so we wish him well, and we had a wonderful half an hour there with Sam. Community has always been very strong, a sense of community on the South Coast, because we have so many small communities, and one of them is at Piree. And one in need of some refurbishment is called the Piree Hall, or the Red Shed. And the Premier also visited many of the community there to talk about funding which she was able to provide for a new fence. We're looking for a new kitchen, and the committee discussed that with her. So we've had 2 Premier's grants for that particular hall, and of course that means a great deal to a community like Piree. And it was great to meet committee members Adam Bowden, Malcolm Oak, Con Watts, Paul Anderson and Lorraine Brown, who welcomed us for afternoon tea with very special cups and sauces, I may say. It just only happens in the country, and a tour of the beautiful hall. And I'll be going to a function there on Saturday night for the 125th anniversary. Our last stop was to the East Nowra Community Garden, which is housed on the East Nowra School, Nowra East Public School. And it was a great day to end the day, because I've been to this garden on many occasions, seeing even Costa from Gardening Australia come to talk to kids about growing food, growing their own food, growing plants, growing trees. They were just a little bit short the actual Nowra East Community Garden kitchen project to finish their kitchen. And the Premier announced a further $12,000 just to finish the internals of that project. So they were thrilled about that. And the beautiful thing about the Nowra East Community Garden kitchen is the fact that the kids will be growing food in the community garden. They'll be then learning to cook that food in the community kitchen, along with members of the community, including Aboriginal cooking programs as well. It's just a remarkable achievement. I want to congratulate Alex McNeely and the enormous work he does, not just on this project but others. And he belongs to a not-for-profit organisation called All Sustainable Futures. He works outside the area as well, and he's just a success story, and we're so pleased to have him on board with this one. He's worked with schools, groups, organisations and residents to design, scope and consult, and it was really inspiring that we could have the Premier in our little community kitchen when she visited last week. Again, I'd like to thank Alex McNeely, Lisa Miller, both directors at All Sustainable's Future Inc., the principal of Nowra East, wonderful principal of Nowra East Public School, Christy Goldthorpe, John Stoven Bradford, who's the Narra East Garden Coordinator, who just works tirelessly for that garden and for those kids at that school. Lynn Golding from the Narra East P&C Committee, and students Gemma Blackwell, Kiara McPherson and Aisha McPherson for showing us around and doing that marvellous job displaying their qualities of leadership at Narra East School. Thank you, Premier, for visiting the South Coast Electorate once again.
I thank the member for the South Coast